We'll now focus our attention onto boxing once again. Some decent fights yesterday. Rocky Fielding managed to get it done in a tight fight against John Ryder. Also a victory for Kurt Seidzer, which we went for on this channel, so that was successful. Gabe Rosado put in a very good shift against Martin Murray, and a lot of people have said he won it. I thought he might have nicked it, but I knew it was going to be difficult fighting away, Martin Murray fighting at home. And there were some strange cards. Murray got the win. 119-109 was one card for Murray over Rosado. One was a draw, I think, and one was 116-112 for Murray. Just bizarre cards. I mean, the 119-109 was ridiculous. All the attention. The 116-112 is pretty ridiculous, I thought, as well. You could really only give it for either fighter 1 or 2 rounds. So that was way off. Probably the only one that was worth considering was the draw. Rosado went mad. Yeah, it's got to be looked at, that sort of thing. These Matchroom Eddie Hearn cards, this seems to happen a lot, these hometown decisions. And yeah, anyway, I thought Rosado put in a good shift and he might have nicked it. But anyway, Murray's got it. So we've kind of had a push there. But getting on to this one, Frank Buglioni versus Ricky Summers. It'll be for the British light heavyweight title. It will be on the Dylan White Marius Watt card. That will be the main event. Buglioni, who's recently signed for Matchroom. I think he's had a lot of different promotions. I think he was kind of portrayed as a bit of a diva when with Frank Warren. I think Frank Warren mentioned demands from Buglioni, like big figures he wanted for fights. But anyway, that's in the past. He moved on to Steve Goodwin recently. I think Steve Goodwin may even still be his manager. He was under Goodwin Promotions for that fight with Jose Burton recently, but is now joined up with Matchroom, from what I hear. Signed up with Eddie Hearn, and after that big win over Jose Burton, he's on the way up again, isn't it? Jose Burton. Pronunciations on that always differ. We'll go with Jose Burton for the time being. Yeah, got past Burton in a tremendous fight. It was amazing. I watched that fight. It was absolutely superb. Burton used his long levers. Probably was up coming into the latter stages of the fight, but Buglioni, he dug in, he dug deep, he showed tremendous heart, and he out-hustled Burton. They had beef before the fight. There was words exchanged at the press conference. They had history going back to the amateurs. These two had fought. Buglioni went on record and said, "I'll make him quit. Jose Burton will quit." And he was pretty much true to his word. I'm not so sure we can say Burton quit, but Buglioni got the late stoppage in a late show. A tremendous fight. It was a fight that was based on styles, wasn't it? It was Burton, able to fight from range with his reach advantage and height, and then there was Buglioni trying to push the pressure, attacking, trying to make a fight of it, bringing it on the inside. It was a tremendous fight, a great win for Buglioni. His career 19-2-1, 15 KO victories in those 19 wins, 1 KO loss in his 2 losses. He has a points loss to Fedor Chudinov. I think that was a title shot at 168. He's kind of fights between, these days between 168 and light heavy. He's now operating at light heavy, as he did in that fight against Burton. There's a draw on his record with Lee Markham. He's got a KO loss to Serhii Kamitsky as well. But yeah, it's an okay record. It's a record where could do with a few more signature wins. I mean, this was a signature win over Burton, and he'll be looking to press on now, particularly where he's with Matchroom. Hopefully Eddie Hearn can bring him some more opportunities and get him the sort of spotlight that he wants. But he's operated at a high level, obviously fighting Chudinov at 168. And now Burton is where he wants to be, British light heavyweight champion. He's got a chance to, kick on now. We look at Ricky Summers, 13-0-0 unbeaten. What I would say is, although that looks impressive, if you look through it, I've looked through the record and he hasn't fought anybody of any note. I mean, it was unbelievable, some of the stuff on here. Elvis Doob, I've seen him before on a Matchroom card. His record, Elvis Doob, this is one of the victories that Ricky Summers has. Doob stands at 7-56-2. I mean, I don't even know why he's still boxing. 7 wins, 56 losses. That is a shocking record, but that is one of the wins Ricky Summers has. Recently fought, can't pronounce it, Remigius Ziausis, someone whose record stands at 20-75-5, someone who's had 75 losses in their career. That's someone Ricky Summers beat. He's also got a victory over Chris Nixon. Again, a negative record, 8 wins, 9 losses, but compared to the other two I just mentioned, that's probably one of the best ones. So Ricky Summers is heavily unexposed. He's stepping up in trip and he's going to be up against it. I tried to find some odds for this fight, I couldn't find any, and I'm not surprised because I don't even know if the bookies will want to mess around with this one. Buglioni will go off as a very short price favourite, and rightly so. Um, the thing is here, Summers is unexposed, so maybe he could produce something out of the ordinary. I've looked at his style. It's quite rangy. Not dissimilar from Burton, really. He seems to have long levers. Um, Pumps a jab. Very capable jab. Good, decent footwork. I noticed that as well. It's hard to find footage for him. I saw him against Zialsis with some terrible footage. I think someone filmed it from the crowd or something. But from what I could see, the jab was pumping. He looked, decent. He looked well schooled in terms of his technique. So it's up to him. If he raises his game, maybe he can give Buglioni a fight. He's an orthodox fighter, 6'1". Buglioni is also 6'1". As we saw with that Burton fight, Buglioni can be vulnerable to a taller fighter, a rangier, lankier, sort of a fight from the outside fighter. And that's something that Ricky Summers could look at in terms of strategy. What he doesn't want to do is get into an attritional sort of trade-off with Buglioni, because Buglioni has heart. He's a real fighter. Another thing for Summers to look at is that Buglioni does eat a lot of shots. He takes shots. He knows he's got a good chin and he backs himself up with that chin. His head movement is limited. That could be something he works on. I think it's Don Charles was his trainer for the Burton fight. Charles very experienced. He would have looked at that. He needs to get that head moving, and he needs to evade more shots, because if you're going to fight with that style where you're eating a lot of shots, your career is going to be significantly shortened, and you're going to be taking risks you don't need to take. In boxing, it's about not getting hit and then inflicting hits on your opponent. Someone like Floyd Mayweather perfected that, and Buglioni needs to look at that, particularly at this weight. He's at light heavyweight now. If you're getting clumped in the head at light heavyweight, not only are you risking KO losses, you're risking your career in terms of its the length of your career and your longevity. You're risking your health. So I think Buglioni needs to look at that, but not to be too negative. Buglioni's on the way up. As I say, I do like his style. He's a good boxer to watch. He comes forward. Um, a little bit of shimmy, a lot of shimmying he does. That is his move. He sort of moves from left to right a little bit, has the guard up and looks for opportunities to get on the inside and cut loose. He has got a nice right hand as well. So yeah, Summers, there's things for him to look at. He knows that if he can get his shots away, he has a chance of landing them, because Buglioni in the past has takes a few shots. As I said, fighting from range. So there's an angle for Summers. He seems to be a competent boxer from the little I've seen of him. Certainly, we would have to look at Buglioni to win this one. If we can get any value, it will be a short price. We'll look to use it any way we can in an accumulator. It depends on the price. I haven't seen it as yet. So it's just a lean at this stage. But Buglioni, he should have too much. He's got way too much experience. He's fought at elite level. This should be a standout performance from Buglioni, where he's saying, I'm here. I've beaten Burton in a tough fight. I'm going to put away Summers, defend my British light heavyweight title, and look to the future. Who can Eddie Hearn put in front of me? He is someone who fights at 168 and at light heavy, so there's options there, because 168 is a stacked division. I don't know if he wants to move down. Seems quite comfortable at light heavy, but there's options there. The De Gales and the Groves. There's so many people around. Martin Murray's just dropped to 160 again. He fights at 168. There's so many options, in the British arena, and Eddie Hearn has got the contacts, so you never know what could happen. If he wants to stay at light heavy, there's options at light heavy. There's options at 168. So there's a lot for Buglioni. He'll want to press on, and he'll want to produce. And only one little thing I'll mention as well. That fight with Burton, there was a lot of emotional energy in it. There was bad blood. Buglioni was very motivated. It was a big fight. It was a signature fight. He produced. In a fight like this, will he be as up for it as he could be? I would suggest he will be, because he's on the way up. He's just signed with Matchroom. But you never know. This is an opportunity for Summers. If Summers wants to show up and actually put in the work rate and make it hard, who knows? It's boxing, and we haven't got enough evidence really to go with on Summers to give an 100% pick, as we saw with Hay and Bellew. Shocks do happen, but I can't look past Buglioni in this one. He will get it done, I would have thought. We'll see what happens with the prices. But yeah, at the moment, Buglioni Summers, we have to go with the experience of Frank Buglioni.